Now, for triangle congruency, remember congruent means same shape, same size. There are a few rules that we talked about. One of them was called side, side, side. That means I must have all three sides of each triangle. I'm comparing two triangles. I must have all three sides of each triangle marked. And the way I mark triangles are with slashes. What I mean with that is each of my triangle should look with all three sides marked. Another rule that we have is side, angle, side. So two sides and the angle in between. So each of my triangles, like I said, I'm comparing two triangles, but I should have two sides marked and the angles in between. So the angle that I must have is the angle where the two sides meet. That angle. Another rule that we learned was angle, side, angle. So what I need to have is two angles marked. Remember, angles are the corners, and the side, but the side that I need is the one in between the angles. So I need to mark that side. Another rule that we learned was angle, angle, side. What I need for that one is two angles, but now the side is not in between the angles. It's any of the other two sides. So an example, this one. Now there was one rule that we learned that it looks like this. If you notice, there's two sides marked and the angle, but the angle is not in between the sides. Remember, in between will be the corner where the two sides meet. Now, this one works only if the angle is 90 degrees, which is our case. But then we don't call it side angle. We call it hypotenuse leg. So for this case, I will use HL. And there was one rule that we talked about where I have all three angles. But then I also showed you guys one smaller triangle with the same angles. Right? This one we called angle, angle, angle. As we notice, I can come up with two different triangles. They have the same shape, just not the same size. So angle, angle, angle never works. So the only rules that work are side, 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 angle, side, angle, side, angle, angle, side, and HL, hypotenuse leg. Those are the only rules that work. Anything else, not congruent. All right, let's take a look. Question number 7, it says determine if the two triangles are congruent. If they are, state how you know. To begin with, if a side is used by both triangles, you can just mark it. So the only way I can mark a side is if it is used by both triangles, like I did. The only way you can mark an angle is if the two angles make an X. So something like this, I will mark the angles. The only way you can mark a side is if the two triangles are using it. The only way you can mark a side, an angle, is if the angles make an X. All right, so let's take a look at question number 7. Let me take a look at one triangle. I'm looking at the triangle on the left. I have that this angle right here is also 90. That's also given, right? Because the whole line, the angle of a line is 180. If half of it is 90, well, the other half is 90 as well. So what I'm trying to do here is there's two things that are marked, right? Two sides or two angles, right? Two of something. Remember, the sides I'm marking with slashes, angles I'm marking with little arcs or corners. Angles are the corners. Here, if you notice, I have two sides marked. So let me put my two S's. And then there's an angle. Then I ask myself, is the angle in between the sides? All right, is the angle right where the two sides meet? It is. So side, angle, side. Quickly take a look at the other triangle. Make sure it is marked the same way. It is. Side, angle, side is a good rule. So side, angle, side will be it. Let's take a look at number 8. I can say this angle is 90 degrees. I can say this side is marked because they both use it. Let me take a look at one of my triangles. I'm looking at either two sides marked or two angles marked. I see there's one angle and I see there's a second angle. So let me do two A's. Then the side. Is the side in between the angles? It is not, right? The one slash is not in between the two angles. So then the S will be at the side. Angle, angle, side. Quickly take a look at the other triangle. Make sure it is marked the same way. It is. So angle, angle, side will do it. If the other triangle is marked different, not congruent. Let's take a look at number 9. To begin with, I can mark this side because both triangles are using it. Then I'm going to take a look at one of my triangles. Either two angles or two sides. I'm looking at what is marked. I see two angles marked. So two angles. Then I ask myself, is the side right in between the two angles? It is. So let me put the S in the middle. Quickly take a look at the other triangle. It is marked the same way. So angle, side, angle works. It's a good rule. Let's take a look at number 10. Let me take a look at one of my triangles. I'm taking a look at this triangle. Either two sides marked or two angles marked. In this case, I have two angles. Then I ask myself, is the side in between the angles? It is. So let me put the S in between. Quickly take a look at the other triangle. It's marked the same way. So angle, side, angle. Do notice that I did mention quickly take a look at the other triangle. I always said that. If the two triangles are marked different, they're not congruent. All right, the second part is state what additional information is required in order to know that the triangles are congruent for the reason given. So I want it to be congruent. I'm even giving you a rule. Question number 11, I want it to be side, angle, side. From the three things I'm supposed to have marked, in this case, two sides and one angle, from the three marks I'm supposed to have, I'm missing one of them. What am I missing? Remember, I want it to be two sides and the angle in between. I don't need the angle because it's already marked. I only have one side marked. So the one side that I will need on one of my triangles is this side. The side that I will need on the other triangle is this side. When we're talking about sides, we use two letters. So my answer will be, I need the side UV or VU, however you want to call it. Make sure you use the two letters that use that side equals FG or GF. Now let's take a look at question number 12. To begin with, the side that is used by both triangles is marked. It's given. Now, let me take a look. I need angle, angle, side. I'm taking a look at my triangle on the left. I need to have two angles and one side marked. So I have the side already. Make sure that the side is not in between the two angles. So the angle that I need in this case will be this angle. Remember, I don't want the side in between the angles. On the other triangle, the angle that I need is this angle. All right, so on my first triangle, the one on the left, the way I write angles is using three letters. Make sure C is in the center. So YCX equals, the other one, make sure W is in the center. YWX. If you call the second angle XWY, it's fine, as long as W is in the center. Some books, some texts, some tests, sometimes when you guys see material, sometimes they only use one letter for angles. They call it angle C and angle W. Sometimes they only use one letter. All right, let's take a look at number 13. I need this to be angle, angle, side. So two angles and a side, but I don't want the side in between. So let's see what will work here. I could mark this angle, right? That will work. On the other triangle, I can mark this angle. So I'm going to say HJI equals TRS. Lastly, here, number 14, I need two sides and the angle in between. So the side that I'm missing is this one and this one. So I'm going to say ED equals IJ.